5:30, we'll call the July 7th meeting of the Whitley County Consolidated Board of Trustees to order. And the first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is my favorite part, celebrations.
Good evening. My name is Lyle Q. Michael, and I'm the Director of Student Services for Whitley County Consolidated Schools. And I just had a quick celebration. WCCS had applied for and was awarded from the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute a grant that we will receive over the next 2 years for $158,340. And this will allow us to increase our Parkview services that we have through our current student assistance program. And we'll be able to fully fund a licensed mental health counselor that will be at our middle and high schools. So again, we have this program currently at our elementaries. And this will allow us to, again, continue that at our secondary level. This was done through the support of the Whitley County Prosecutor's Office. And as always, all of these services are only done through parent authorization support. So just want to celebrate that. So
how long will that?
2 years.
2 years.
Right. So
did you say middle and high?
yes, middle.
Okay, and it'll be the one person, or will they be two positions?
One person for the 2 years that will cover both buildings.
Thank you.
What was the amount? 300?
$158,340.
Nice.
And again, it'll just be added on to our current contract with Parkview. So
Appreciate that work. It's a great result. Thank you.
Jennifer Reef, Director of Innovation and Career Tech Ed. Just wanted to update you on a few of our programs. We had 3 young men who, if you recall, won the Golden Shovel back in October last year. With that opportunity, they were graced with a scholarship to attend Crane School. So all 3 of them were successful. So at the age of 18, they all 3 have their CDL license. They are all fixed and mobile crane certified throughout the entire country. That's good for the next 5 years. So they're very excited. They did that the day after school got out. They were in Indy and they were let out early to come to graduation, but they did all finish. We were successful that way. Want to let you know that we are 3 for 3 on EMT. So our students that have wanted to pursue this certification and have met all the qualifications, they all have passed the EMT certification the first time. That again is a national certification that you have anywhere here in the country with that. All of our Fire 1 students have been successful as well. So they have all received their Fire 1 certification. They'll proceed on into Fire 2 next year. And then of our 4 seniors in the cosmetology program, 3 of the 4 have tested and were successful. Our 4th is due to test here at the end of the month. You have to be 18 to test, and she is a very young senior who turns 18 in the month of July. So as soon as I know that, I will update you as well. But if you've driven by, I don't remember the name of the business, but right across from Ace Hardware, there's a big marquee sign that welcomes Phoenix Kuhn, and she is one of our 4. I do know that Lainey Ziliak has been hired by Sheer Envy. Kaylee Wolf, I'm not sure where she's at just yet. And then we have 1 more, Chevy Slagle, that will test in July. So thank you. Good job.
I can't say enough about the programs that have been developed and everything that you've done. Just continue to hear successes, and these represent successes not just for the school and for the students, which puts them on a path that they want to be on, find that they want to be on. Also for our community in general, we've had industry saying, and I don't mean factories by that, but just businesses saying these are the things we need, and we're meeting those. So thank you so much for the effort. Other celebrations?
I'd like to celebrate, I know we have Dr. McDermott leaving, but I've already heard from lots of people. It's an exciting time. We'll have to be about a year from this time. We'll have a new superintendent probably in place. So it's an exciting time. There's lots of people interested. Again, kudos to a lot of the programs we have and a lot of the things we're doing right here. And I think it's a great place to be. So I'd like to celebrate that we're looking forward to some change and exciting times for WCCS.
Any other celebrations? There are none. The next item on the agenda is public comment. I don't believe we have any public. We do? Yeah, I need that. Sure.
Welcome to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. If you have come to make a statement, ask a question, or represent a group or activity, we would like to recognize your presence. You will have 3 minutes to speak to the board. No one may speak more than one time. As you speak, keep in mind the following. Preface your comments by providing your name and group affiliation, if any. Comments made to the board are public comments. All statements should be directed to the full board. No person may address or question board members individually. Public comments which are harassing or repetitive will be stopped. Personal attacks are not permitted under any circumstances. If your speech becomes inflammatory, we will ask you to leave the podium. It is the policy of WCCS Board to listen to your comments or questions. However, we do not respond during the meeting. Thank you.
Melissa Wexler?
Good evening, and thank you for letting me speak tonight. I want to take a moment tonight to express my disappointment in the board's decision to deny a request for a hearing under Policy 9130. As elected officials, your role is to provide oversight and accountability on behalf of the public, and that includes listening, especially when concerns involving bullying and retaliation. These are serious matters that affect student well-being and public trust in the system. Denying a hearing sends a message that these concerns are not worth your time or attention, which is deeply troubling. Additionally, I want to raise a concern regarding the board's vote on this matter. On June 13th, my attorney formally advised School Attorney Tim Shelley that Mr. Rentschler should recuse himself due to a potential conflict of interest. His wife, in her role at CCHS, was directly involved in an incident that I perceived as retaliation and intentional humiliation. I do not know whether Attorney Shelley communicated that recusal request to Mr. Rentschler or whether Mr. Rentschler received it and chose to ignore it. Regardless, the situation raises serious questions about transparency and fairness in the board's decision-making process. I urge this board to reflect on your responsibilities as elected representatives and to take concerns about bullying and retaliation and conflict of interest seriously, not only in policy, but in practice. Thank you.
That concludes public comment. Next item are the agenda items. First one is textbook adoption for construction trades.
Good evening. In your packet, I believe you have information in regards to the adoption of our construction trades curricular materials. The purpose of this adoption was to provide students access to curriculum in partnership with the Central Midwest Regional Council of Carpenters. If you recall, a few months ago, we signed an articulation agreement that when our students proceed through our agriculture power as well as the construction trades program, it will account for 1 year of their apprenticeship as they leave Columbia City High School and matriculate into the Regional Council of Carpenters. To do that, we need access to their curriculum. So this was reviewed by myself, Gavin Gottfried, Justin Carpenter, Tom Rentschler as member of the board, and Carson Henry as student. And we're asking that we have been, like I said, we've been reviewing these. We also made sure that we had the requisite materials to be able to accomplish the tasks and the projects that are in these books, as well as aligned to the articulation agreement. And we ask for your support in adopting these materials moving forward. And that will be done at the board meeting in 2 weeks. Any questions?
Are these books or are these like digital books or?
They're actually books. They're
Books.
quite thick. And we were planning to buy a classroom set. These will all be done in the classroom itself. Yes.
Any other questions? Next item on the agenda is revision to WCCS employee handbooks, administration, classified management, and transportation. Dr. McDermott?
Thank you, Mr. Smith, board members. I want to preface this by saying I'm going to give you basically changes throughout the handbooks because we did several changes in all of the handbooks. And then there are a couple that are specific to individual handbooks that I'll talk you through. Basically, we updated all of the logos that were on the front that were out of date. There are title changes that were updated, such as Student Services Director in place of Transportation Director in the Transportation Handbook. We worked on compensatory time. There was no limit. So when compensatory time was earned, there was no limit as to when it had to be used. So we've had employees that over the course of 2, 3, 4 years can stack up significant compensatory time because you get awarded compensatory time and a half, much like you would be paid time and a half. And that's really an unfunded piece. So we're going to limit that to 3 months. It has to be used within 3 months of when it is earned. And then no more than 40 hours of compensatory time may be earned. So those are changes, and if they have more than that, I know Mr. Smith and I talked before this meeting, we'll have to figure out a way to either compensate them for that time or something like that, so that we get them down within the ranges we need to have them in. Another change is worker compensation. In the handbooks, we had lots of details about workers' compensation. Really all we need in the handbook, because those change frequently enough that then you have to change all the handbooks. So basically we went to just that Whitley County provides workers' compensation. Here's, if you're injured on the job, here's what you need to do. You have to report it to your supervisor within X amount of time, and you have to go to the medical facility outlined by the Director of Business and Operations. And then if we have somebody in that case, because we've only had, knock on wood, just a couple, they would meet with HR and HR would walk them through the process instead of having all the verbiage in the handbook. Sick leave, we've changed it from any employee absent 3 consecutive days of work must provide a doctor's release, and prior to this, it was 5 consecutive days, and 3 is aligned with state guidance. Cell phones, the stipend was added to the classified administrative handbook. Stipends have been given out since January of 2014. Was approved by the board around that time, but the only handbook where it is mentioned is classified management, so we added it in both classified and administrative. Definition of immediate family. There was a very long, drawn-out definition of immediate family. We've changed the definition to any individual for whom the employee has primary responsibility for care, safety, and well-being. So that would cover someone living outside the household, like an elderly parent, who you're the one who takes them to the doctor. It could be those living inside your household, like children. But then so you don't have to list children, stepchildren, because it was very long drawn out. So insurance, this was changed for SEBT. So the benefits are effective on the first day of the month following the employee's start date or hire date. And those benefits include Marshall Wellness Clinic, the Wellness Coach, and the Employee Assistance Program. Now for classified management, it would be 60 days after completion of their 60-day probationary period. So they'd have to have a successful completion of their probationary period, and then a month after that time it would start. The addendums, we changed position titles, number of days based on the needs of district, evaluation tools. We pulled out board policies that are listed on the website, such as anti-harassment, bullying training, substance abuse, that kind of thing. because it's on the website. And then anytime you change board policy, then you have to go through and change all the handbooks. So we're trying to streamline that. In classified and classified management, there is a sick bank days where employees are awarded sick bank days if they've run out of their days. In the past, they had committees to overview that. And number one, it's hard to find people to want to participate on the committee. Number two, it's a violation of HIPAA because they have to be given all of that medical information. And if you have 2, 3, 4 people on the committee, that means 2 or 3, 4 people have that medical information, which is a violation. And then it comes down to the fact that at the bottom line, the superintendent has to approve it anyway. So we're want to do away with sick bank, and basically they would petition the superintendent or designee for those days, and they would still provide their medical information because that goes through HR, but it limits the number of people that have access to that medical information, that protected medical information.
Laura, I just wanted to clarify, you said we're not doing away with sick bank, we're just changing how we deal with it. I just wanted to clarify because it sounded a little bit like we were doing
Thank-
away with it and that.
No, it's not the bank, it's the committee structure to determine, yes, you get days, no, you don't.
And you're just awarding in increments of 3 rather than 10. Is there any cap at all, or is that just based upon
The cap is 60 days.
60? Okay.
Yeah. And we went to 3 rather than 10 because right now it says in increments of 10 days. Well, we've been burnt a couple times here in the last 3 years where they'll take the 10 days and then they'll quit. And there's no way to recoup those days because then they have to pay them back 3 days at a time each subsequent year they work for the district. Now, they still could get 20, 30 days, but it would be in increments of 3 rather than increments of 10.
Does that create any issue for you? I mean, every 3 days? I mean, that seems like an awful lot of.
Well,
marking.
you know, if they have a surgeon, say they've had surgery and the surgeon says they can return to work on X date, which is 12 days out, you would just go ahead and award the 12 days. You wouldn't be tied though to, okay, now I've got to award 2 times
Okay.
10, 20, as opposed to 12.
Okay.
Because right now we can only award it in increments of 10. So we wanted to tighten that up some.
Does it still work the same way in that the people that can participate or request are those that have contributed? You contribute
Yes.
1 day a year. Okay.
Yeah, you have to belong to the sick bank in order to, yes, which
Okay.
means you've contributed X number of days every year. Yeah, yeah. Yep. Vacation days, right now, there's the ability for year-round employees who are long-term employees to earn in excess of 20 vacation days. And we want to cap that at 20. Just because 4 weeks vacation, a lot of times they have trouble taking it anyway. And then we end up paying them for the days. But 20 days, I mean, that's what everybody, admin get 20 days.
Does that carry over? I mean, can they keep that? Or does it?
No.
They have to?
It's a use it or lose it kind of thing. Now they can get paid for 5. So if they don't use 5 vacation days, they can't get paid for those. Yeah.
Laura, is there anything in the handbook that states that if you get those vacation days, you're a year-round employee, that if you are in a school and in the school is in session, that you can't take your vacation days then? That's happened in the past and I don't want that to be happening yet, if that's.
So the only, right now, the only ones who get vacation days are the year-round employees. So it's custodians, and basically high school admin, high school principal, and central office. Well, yeah, classified management, who are all central office for the most part. So we've had conversations, I mean, because that came up in talking with administration. They would like a little more flex time with their days, but we had that conversation, the fact that when school's in session, you need to be in the building. And I feel like our high school principal is very cognizant of that and is in the building for the most part. I mean,
But there's no language that prohibits.
there's no language in there that prevents that. No, no, there is not.
Those days still have to be approved though, don't they? I mean, you make
Yeah.
a request for them, they can be denied.
Yes, they can be. Mhm.
So is that similar to someone asking for their personal days to be adjacent to a vacation or a school or a break, or do those have to be approved?
Those have to be approved, yes. In the WCTA, in the master contract. Teachers, if they back their personal days or their flex days up to a vacation, it costs them 1.5 days for every day that they extend that vacation. So it costs them more to take those days, but they, yes, they can take that. Now I will couple this with, we are adding an attendance policy because that's been a burr in my saddle this year. All the unpaid leave days that have been taken
It's been a
when
problem
kids,
for a long time.
when kids are in session. So we're tying that, we're limiting 90, they have to have 91 point, at least 91.5% attendance to earn a raise. They can't get a raise if they don't have 91.5. If they have less than 90% attendance, it's a dismissal. Now they're, if they have FMLA, of course, we can't count vacation days against them, but we can work on that.
I've noticed that goes hand in hand with the fact that we are paying for subs far more than what I remember seeing in the budget in the past. So hopefully that will help with
Yes.
that.
Yes. And that's the intent, is to really pull in on that attendance to make sure people are there when students are there. Because it does us no good to hire paraprofessionals if they don't show up when the kids are there. And we've had, I don't know, when I went down and analyzed it, I mean, over half of our paras were out more than 15 days, 10, 15 days. That doesn't help us. They've got to be in attendance. And again, if there's medical issues, fine. We can sub that, but it's to the point now where we are having to sub, we've never had to sub our resource paras. But we have to now because kids are not getting the services outlined in their IEPs because the resource paras are gone too frequently. So there's costs there. So we have to really tighten up on the attendance piece. So that's in there as well. And we're tying it to evaluation and raises. And then in transportation, there's a statement about there that alcohol by bus drivers may not be consumed within 8 hours. State guidelines say 12 hours. So we've made that change. They cannot consume alcohol within 12 hours of driving a bus. And so those are the big pieces in the changes. We changed, like names and titles throughout. We tried to do some cleanup as far as grammar. Hopefully you'll take a look at that. I've had lots of people. I've had lots of people take a look at that because it's a lot to look at when you go through all those various handbooks. But anyway, so we'll be coming back in 2 weeks to have you approve those. You do have a version. I will tell you right now that the table of contents have not been updated yet. And all the headings and things are not the, how it's lined out. It's not all cleaned up yet because it was basically working on the wording first. So.
The attachments we see are the new ones though. Am I getting that right?
Yes, they're
Okay.
what they are right now. Yes.
Thank you.
Other questions? If not, we'll move on to the next item, issuing adjunct teacher permit.
Thank you. We have one teacher permit. And I have it in here. somewhere. Hold my papers. Okay, Emily Amstutz. So, she has 3 years' experience, bachelor's in education, so she is certified. She works at COESI as a literacy para. And so we would like to have you issue her an adjunct teacher permit so that we can, number one, she's certified, but we can count her in our 65% because all of her time that she's at the building, she works with students.
Can you, can you help just remind me, if she has her bachelor's in education, she's not considered a teacher right now? What makes it the adjunct?
Right now, she's considered a para-professional. That's what she's hired as.
Okay.
And will continue to do so. I mean, yes, she could get a teaching position, but she has chosen not to pursue one.
Okay, that makes sense.
What the adjunct does for us is it allows us to include her in the 65% for teachers.
Okay.
But in the next part, because you look at the adjunct teacher employment agreements, that's the part, if you'll recall, the board issues a permit for them, whether they have, sometimes they have teaching degrees, sometimes they don't. If they don't, you have to issue the permit, which supersedes or doesn't really supersede, but it's in place of them getting an emergency permit from the state. You can issue the permit for them to work with students, okay? But they have to have X number of years of experience, hours of experience in a particular content area, that kind of thing, which she does. She's worked at COESI for 3 years, but she's also a teacher. So then after you award the permit, then there's the employment agreement. And the employment agreements are based on position, number of hours, number of years of experience, all of that kind of stuff. So before I go to that, I'll let you move us to the next part, or if there are any other questions about the permit.
So I'm confused. She can be a teacher, but we pay her as a paraprofessional.
She doesn't have her teacher's license, though.
Oh, she doesn't have the license.
She does, but she's chosen not to be. She wants to be employed as a para,
Okay.
not a teacher.
So this is merely for our paperwork then to allow us to count her even though she's still being paid as a paraprofessional.
Correct.
That's very confusing.
Because she's in the classroom more than 50% of the time.
Is there a limit on emergency permits versus doing what we're maybe doing here? I guess I'm a little confused too then. We're gonna talk about the adjunct permit. Are there limits to that like there are with the emergency permits, or is that different?
So they have to have a bachelor's. They have to have,
Sorry, not limits like education background, but limits like could a person get an adjunct teacher permit 10 years in a row?
we have to post the positions.
Okay,
So, like one that's up right now, Harmony Monosmith. Or like Melanie Curry, who has done, sign language for us at the high school. We have to post the position every year.
okay.
We cannot hire an adjunct if we have a licensed teacher.
Okay.
So in this case, though, what we're doing is, when you look at the employment agreements, we're looking at Emily Amstutz and Anna Marie Yeager, who is also a certified teacher, whose license is current, because Emily's license is not current. they're both paras at Coesce. If we give them an adjunct contract, pay them the same amount, give them the same hours, but now what we pay them becomes part of our 65%.
Is everyone familiar with the 65%? Okay.
Can you explain that, Dave? Someone can explain that.
So, by state statute, at least 65%, and Todd, correct me here, but at least 65% of the dollars, the ADM dollars we receive from the state have to go to teachers' salary and benefits. And they have to be with students at least 50% of the day for them to qualify as teachers. An adjunct qualifies as a teacher. So any adjunct contract we award, they can be part of our 65% if they work with students and if they are properly have the background.
Yeah, at this point, even though paras are in the classroom with the students every day, they don't count toward the 65%.
Correct. Yep. So then the 3 employment agreements we have, Harmony Monosmith, who we awarded last year, and she's basically on an adjunct because she only works part-time. She's certified. She worked with us full-time, great special education teacher. We want to keep her. She doesn't want to work full-time. If she's on an adjunct, then there are some benefits to her in her family as far as health insurance, things like that. So we're very content with having her be our an adjunct. And then Emily and Anna Marie, yes, who are the other 2, and they're Coesce literacy paras.
Any questions? Not, we'll move on to selection of board attorney.
Okay. And this one, I don't know, some of you will recall, some, our new board members will not, but we interviewed 3 last year with the passing of Mr. Whiteleather. And we selected Mr. Shelley, Warwick, and Boyne as our attorney, both for work that he had done in the district prior to, but also considering his overall rates, that kind of thing. He's done a wonderful job for us this past year. If we call him, he answers. We've also worked with 2 others in his office, Randy Hesser, who's worked with us on contracts, helped us out with when we had questions about when we were in the bargaining process, not this past year, but the year before. Chris, and I'm not going to get his last name pronounced correctly. Thank you. He worked with us on the CTE MOU and helped us do that because of their particular expertise, that kind of thing. So we've never, all of our questions are answered. They're answered in a very timely manner. And I recommend that we stay with Warwick and Boyne, Mr. Shelley in particular, as our attorney. Now, we do utilize Bloom, Gates, Shipman, and Whiteleather from time to time. We have used them for local contracts for real estate. We've used them for some custody things. Trying to think what else we used them for.
Mainly real estate, yeah. So.
Local issues. I can't think, we were trying to think earlier of the gal's name that's in that office that we've used.
Elizabeth Decker.
Thank you. I was totally off. So we've used her before as well in that office. And then Mr. Gates' grandson works in that office now and is starting to work in school law. So he has come to some of our expulsion hearings and done some work there. So we do utilize our local attorney from time to time as well.
which the board expressed as their desire last year, understanding that that's limited. But when we can, we like to.
Mhm.
Is this something that we just introduce once a year, or remind me how we go about-
Once a year. You used to do it in January. We moved it to July.
We had done it.
Last year. Moved
Okay.
it to July last year. So it's time, and you'll have to vote on it at the upcoming board meeting.
Okay.
Other questions? Okay, we'll move on to Woodley County Consolidated Schools Strategic Plan Review and Board Discussion. Mr. McDermott?
Okay, and I have here, if you would like to take one and pass it down. So, the strategic plan is online. But what I did was I went through our plan with our pillars and our actions. And I just outlined what's been done under each pillar over the last 3 years. So, under comprehensive student experience, we've undertaken all of the actions that are listed there. We've at least started them. The curriculum alignment work is completed at the elementary, middle school, and math. Middle school continues to work on ELA. Reading instruction is stronger at the elementary level with our reading coaches. We have instructional coaches at both the middle school and high school, which helps there. The high school is working on aligning instructional strategies, so that's in there. Our NTSS district team and our pilot group, they've met for 3 years now, and will be continuing to move their work forward in the upcoming year. Co-curricular activities. We've added activities in the high school, middle school, expanded robotics at the elementary. The elementary schools are working on adding groups targeted to particular student interests like ceramics, or I know that Northern Heights has the jump rope team and things like that. We've also added bowling, archery, girls wrestling, boys volleyball. Student behavior, Pride is under that. Pride's been implemented throughout the district. We now have Pride grades at K through 8. It's part of their report card. Belongingness, that is one of the survey questions that has been sent out. I know we've sent it out twice, 3 times now. It's rated high in all the buildings. The students feel like they belong. Parents report that they feel like they belong. Behavioral and mental health. So we have the partnership with Parkview. We've invested in staff training. And then Mr. Kumichael announced a grant to expand that to the middle school and high school for the next 2 years. So that's all positive. Career and college readiness, all of those actions have been undertaken, are being monitored, and you get reports from not only our businesses, but from Mrs. Reef and Mrs. Hewer doing a wonderful job there. Under employee engagement actions, the recruitment and retention strategies, they have all been completed by the business office. And under the professional development, we're ongoing there, an example of PD with classified staff. So the bus driver trainings, their bus driver trainings that they meet, I don't know, they met what, 4 times last year maybe? For trainings for different things, safety and student behavior, things like that. And then the custodial workshop, this was the 2nd year of that district-wide, actually region-wide custodial workshop for training for custodians. Positive climate and relationships. We have our staff survey. We have positive net promoter scores, which when Mrs. Shipman has an opportunity to come, she's going to present all of that information to the board from the collaborative, the WCCS collaborative. Employee wellness, we have a wellness coach that's in the district, our employee or health clinic. We implemented a wellness day, which was really successful, and we heard great feedback about, and they all want to do it again. And our employee retention in the district is very good. And then under parent and community experiences, our coordinator of district communications, basically Kennedy Sager, she's doing very well. and communication is streamlined across the campuses and levels. It's branded communication. Positive feedback from the families, and again, the net promoter scores were strong via the survey. Business partnerships continue to grow on behalf of our CTE. Business and community leadership engagement is strong, as evidenced by the various breakfasts and events that are held there. I mean, you're at what, 400 plus now? Organizational excellence actions. Again, our coordinator of district communications, she's doing well and streamlining that branded communication. So lots of opportunities for spotlight student work and success. Net promoter scores are strong with the WCCS collaborative. Department services is there. You get reports to the board, transportation, food service report to you. You know, they'll do reports during the board meetings. Our work order system is in place with our maintenance. Food service staff is doing a great job on improving the menu options, tasting opportunities for students and staff and parents. They're expanding that for the open houses this coming fall, next month. Our student services director, Mr. Kumichael, who is here this evening, is on top of maintaining a strong district safety team. He's very knowledgeable. And again, once again, our survey scores are strong. Students feel like they're safe in the buildings. Facility planning and maintenance, our 5-year plan is in place. Our rotation for maintenance and updates is in place. And fiscal responsibilities, all bullets are met. Mr. Fleetwood does a wonderful job there. The one place where we need to do some work is back under student experience. It's in our data. We have worked hard to try and find a data warehouse system. We've tried out a couple. We need a data management system. We need to review what tools to use for to check student progress as we move from NWEA to checkpoints, because the testing is changing, which is, again, gonna upset everything, and we're gonna have to do some more training. But the data management piece is difficult, and we know what we don't want to do. We just don't know where we are yet, what we want to do yet. We haven't found the solution yet. So that's one of our to-dos.
Are we talking about the Skyward system, or is that something different?
We've had, what was the warehouse tool that we had?
We had 5 labs
That's it.
before, which was a frontline product. Skyward currently houses our student data, but it doesn't show us like year over year individual student growth within that particular tool. So we need a solution where we can add the data, or the data can automatically feed from the state's data warehouse. And then using that, we can then narrow it down to classroom, very specific standards-based subject area strands, so that we can truly evaluate student growth year over year, or on particular standards where they're mastering content, where they're not.
And will that be available to the public or just for internal use?
Well, I mean, parents have access to Skyward. It would depend on how it's set up. Right now, our focus is on how do we get data, usable data, to teachers in a very timely manner so that they can adjust classroom instruction to make sure students are moving along a trajectory, or this student, we're really having an issue here. We need to seek out further services. And that's part of the MTSS process, but you've got to have a solid data system to do that. And we've struggled the last several years.
Yeah, and with the change to I-Learn checkpoints, the state is promising. We'll see what that comes to fruition, but by the end of the first quarter, by the end of the first I-Learn checkpoint, they're promising that there's a parent portal. So parents will be able to log in, see student performance, standards based on the standards that are being assessed at each checkpoint. So there's 5 to 7 standards in math and ELA, but that doesn't help us in science, and it doesn't help us in social studies. And some of the other areas. So that piece will be available soon, but in terms of being able to look at a comprehensive snapshot of student progress from kindergarten through 12th grade, that piece is hard. And there's a lot of products out there. They come at a cost, they come at a complexity level. Do they work? Do they tie together? Those are all challenges you have to mitigate.
What does the process of continued evaluation look like? I mean, you don't have to go into detail, but kind of what's your goal or your plan on moving forward with finding such a product?
Well, we're looking to see what Skyward will do and how it will do it. I know some of our admin, like at the high school, Brett Everly has some templates he's designed in Skyward that do a really nice job of that, but you have to develop the tool and get it in there, and then you have to upload the information, and it's very cumbersome, it's very time intensive, and you have to have a level of expertise to do that. So
It's in process.
Would think we're on the cusp of something with AI that would be able to generate certain things very quickly.
yeah. And that's, how do we get it
Yeah.
in there? And because you have to have a paid account. I know my paid
Yeah.
GPT that I pay for is great.
And the obstacle with AI though is also what data we feed becomes part of the product, right? So if we give it student information, then it owns student
Mhm.
information to give to others. And so we have to be cautious about that.
Yeah.
So when we're looking at like MTSS, are we kind of keeping log of the level 1, level 2s, like year to year? Is that where you're looking? I mean, I know NWEA, but what are some of those other benchmarks that I read and I learn?
They use those, and it depends on the grade level. It depends on which building. Like the elementaries, have common assessments that they use. At literacy, K1 and 2, the literacy coaches have developed assessments that they use frequently. They meet on a regular basis. The principal meets with the teachers and they go over that data. They take a look at it. What's the next step? The reading specialists are involved in all of that. The reading coach as well. At the middle school, their small group, they've had a real focus the last 3 years on helping teachers even with exit tickets, to assess students, okay, what did you get out of what I taught today? And then they can use that and pull back small groups. Wes has really worked on, because of his elementary background, on getting the teachers to meet with small groups of students after they teach and they get assessment. Okay, who needs the second and third round of it? That's part of it. And they're moving that to the high school. The high school just had a bigger jump because of the academies and instructional strategies and trying to pull all of that together so everybody's common, and they've done a great job of that this year. Their coaches have been very targeted. That's going to be an important role to continue at the high school for the next several years, because that's where we've made our bang for our buck at the elementary. When we have reading coaches in the building, that's when you see the changes in the classrooms from day to day to day to day. And the middle school's has the same experience when they've got a math expert who's helping coach and can be talking to the teachers, and here's what I see, and here's what I'm doing, and you're gonna see the same thing. That's when teachers have somebody else to talk to, somebody else to reflect with. That's when the change in practice happens and how they get better.
Other questions? Thank you. General information, next board meeting is July 21st, and our next work session will be August 4th. That we're adjourned. We do have executive session. Which room are we in?
Room 8. And
One catty corner from here.
we'll be bringing your sandwiches in on a cart. When you guys